I guess we could have taken the stuff out of the truck.
Why would we do that, bud? It just doesn't make any sense. This thing's got quick connect Ethernet cable coming into it now. Connects to your phone.
Yeah. So it'll do like little dance routines and all that.
Probably sync it to your K-pop. That's going to be super handy when you help me rip the truck apart. So we're going to add a couple different lights from Baja Designs, 50-inch light bar across the front. We're also adding smaller lights at the side and at the back end of the camper. Have some reverse or chase lights back there. We're going to install these Spod controllers to control those lights. You can put an individual light or a group of lights on each switch, and then you can dim it, turn it on off. You can also control it off your phone. And there'll be a few blank switches when we're done with the lights for future accessories that we may add later. So the system has a couple components. We're going to use two switches. One of them is going to use they have a 3D printed mounting plate that's specific for an F-150. So we're going to put that in the cab. We're going to mount this switch on a ram mount back in the camper near the tailgate. And then this part is mounted to the battery, and it pulls battery in and then splits it out to the different accessories you're going to be switching with the Spods. That goes under the hood up by the battery. A nice thing about this system is then we just run one Ethernet cable from the power distribution system out to the switch, so you don't have to route a line for every accessory. It's all controlled through one Ethernet cable. So let's get into it. You ready, buddy? Maybe. We printed out the instructions off of Spod's website, and we're gonna use them to do this install. Got an assistant, and we're gonna get into it. All right, so disconnect the battery, and then they recommend you start with the switch install in the cab. Oggs, can you pop the hood? Do you know where that lever is underneath the steering wheel? Thank you. I'm just going to throw this in there so there's no inadvertent contact, and I'm going to drop the wrench. Ground isolated, at which point the next step is popping the sunglasses holder down. So it sounds like you just apply some mild force. Oh yeah. There's this. Unplug that. Back that screw out and that one. All 6 of those out, and I'll keep reading the instructions. All right, so then this pops off, and then we pop these 2 rubber plugs out. Yeah, so one T10 screw is holding the sunglasses cover in. You back that out, and then you can kind of slide the sunglasses cover out, and that's ultimately going to be where the controller, the Spod controller, goes. So if you'll throw those screws back in, we'll reassemble this, and then we can mount the controller. So we've got the 3D printed bracket that sets there, kind of trim, and then this is the mounting bracket. Those 2 parts align like so. They were very emphatic about not cross-threading them, which is generally a good idea. I'm being as careful as I possibly can. You want to tighten these down?
Nature's Loctite.
Just don't cross-thread them, bud. That's right.
How do you cross-thread?
Cross-thread is when the threads don't line up.
Tell me. You should tell me. You should tell me if you told me I would do it.
Okay, so if you don't know what it is, you can't do it. So those back down.
That's so you can hook up a cell phone, man.
That's right. Connect your cell
Plug
phone.
your landline into that. Everything you know about cords on phones, man.
Landlines were getting really good right when they all ended. Sweet. Well, then the next move, this sets in like this, so that's kind of your fancy little trim panel. But first, you connect the Spod to it, and this guy is going to be riding like so. So you want the Spod mounted like that, so that the letters are right side up. What tool? Socket with a ratchet in it. You route your short Ethernet cable adapter in here, and then plug it in to the Spod. All right, so that mounts up like so.
Give me a 10-second version.
So it's mounted where the sunglasses holder used to be now.
Perfect.
Ha!
That's it.
Nailed
That's
it.
all it takes.
So the next step is just popping trim off the A-pillar by the driver's side. I do enjoy doing this. Just so you know, Lance. There we go. There we go. And it's got a little rubber tether. Isn't that nice? You pop that off. Set that aside, and then back these bolts out. All right, you get in here and back those out, and when they come out, will you put them in the cup holder?
Of course.
Thanks, bud. You're doing great, man. None of this trim's going back to normal, is that what you said?
It never goes back the same.
No, it's always, there's always like a little, you know what you can do when it's loose? You can just spin this part. Check it out. Just spin that part with your fingers. Just try harder, man.
Chipotle for me then.
That's an airbag. That's an airbag. So if you're in a wreck, it goes, and it keeps it's like creates a pillow for your body.
When it explodes.
You would have to look that up on YouTube, man. We're gonna feed it through here and out there. So will you feed it through that slot there, and then I'll catch it over here. All right, we're feeding this through.
Okay.
And then when that comes up, I'll just plug it into that one. The front end kind of hooks, and then this back side end.
But you already got lights.
All right.
You already got lights right here.
That's true, we don't need any of these lights. Let's take them out. That's sweet. That is a tidy little unit. I like it. So that pillar pops back on. You want to throw these bolts back in, bud? Nope. What?
Okay.
What?
You just take them out, you don't put them back?
You want to go eat some lunch or something? What's going on here? Just doing your thing, you're off the clock.
Do you have a racket for hours?
What's it called, ASMR or something like that?
Oh yeah, we do actually need to do that.
I love that.
Do you actually?
Yeah, there's somehow soothing. It's somehow soothing. Continuing down through here. All right, let's see if this guy will pop back in now. Oh yeah, that's delightful. There's a grommet in the firewall. I'm gonna snip a zip tie to pass the Ethernet cable through. All right, if you'll shine the light right back there. Perfect, up a little, just like that. I'm gonna use this to push through the firewall, grab the Ethernet cable, and pull it back through the grommet. So I pushed this little fish through, and then I just doubled down with zip ties and blue tape to try and make sure it all comes through together. It's kind of a pain to feed it through the grommet, so I don't want to do it twice. Now I'm just gonna pull this back through and hope that the Ethernet cable stays connected. Success. Sweet. So now we're running the Ethernet across the engine bay. Just gonna poke a few holes in the trim along the way so we can zip tie it up out of the way. So now we're gonna mount the distribution system in the engine bay using these mounting brackets. All right, 2 bolts in here. We're gonna use this side's port and route this bad boy up and in, like so. So I'm running our second Ethernet into this controller, which will go to the tailgate of the camper. So I'm running the Ethernet cable along the bottom of the cab and routed it up into the truck bed. And now I'll just hop in. All right, shop truck is shop trucking. So I'll jump over this pallet. And that looks like it'll be good. And I think we'll throw that next one up here. So we'll go modify the plate to receive the Ethernet cable, and then we're just throwing in the second Spod switch. So we found this little Ethernet coupler on the internet, and we're gonna modify this electrical plate to receive it so that the Spod has a quick connect to the switch in the camper. So the plates are 1 7/8 inches wide. So half of that is 0.9375, I hope. And we'll go over to the vise and poke a hole in this thing. So I'll start with a little pilot hole. We've got that guy in. Tighten it up. The rest of the install is just a matter of throwing the plate in and connecting the Ethernet cable to the Spod inside the camper. So what we'll do first is route this guy up around the corner there and back to the location of the Spod.
Okay, talk to me about the wire chase.
This is the wire chase, Lance.
Thank you.
I'll throw the coax for the GMRS antenna back on the coupler here, and then we've got our Ethernet coupler. Got that clicked in, and then I'll just throw both those guys back in here. And then we're just walking this guy down the line. Go. A little spare. All right, so then we just throw the ram mount on here with the actual Spod, and we'll figure out if we want to exit here or up here. You definitely, anytime you're doing something, you want to put a pallet of parts into the truck bed so you can sit on them. It's just, that's the way to
do things differently.
That's the way to do YouTube. We've got the Spod here set up to mount to this ram mount, which will allow us to kind of articulate it where we want it. This ball has a M6 stud on it, which drops right into our threaded inserts. Step one, and I'm just using the ram arm as a wrench, just to lock it down. Sweet, so yeah, that's infinitely adjustable, basically. And I think I'm gonna route this around and exit out here so it's just a tight little pop down. And this should be good. That's cool, it's all quick connect. You can unplug it and pop your camper off. So I think all that's left is just connecting it to the battery, right? That's cool, man. I like it. I like it. Our campers are nice. Da-da-da, with the provided thumb screws and washers, mount the PCM. Da-da-da. Okay, cool. Tuck that up under there as well. All right, so should the thing light up? Let's see if the car starts. That's a win. Look at that. Well, it's not hooked up to anything, but look at all those lights. So we can set it up so that's the light bar, that'd be the side lights, chase lights, and then we can fire up. We've got 5 other switches we can play with for other stuff. All right, let's see if the one in the back's fired up. Heck yeah. Look at that, you got red lights and blue lights. Cool, I don't see any tools I'm gonna smash. We got the Spods in to control the lights. We made some brackets here to mount this 50-inch light bar across the front. We've got a couple lights in a couple other locations, and next up is gonna be getting it all connected and seeing what it looks like.
I'm cool with that. I like it.
Seeing how bright it gets.